Hello everyone, I'm Taylor Bampico. For today's video, we'll be looking at a Pre-B CZ75. Now before I go any further, I'll make sure the pistol is clear. We're good. Let's continue, shall we? This is commonly referred to as a Pre-B 75, which were produced from 1980 until 1993. This one in particular was made in 1991. One might ask, what is a Pre-B 75? Well, on the surface, it just means it lacks the firing pin block. However, there is a lot more to that. For instance, here's the model 75B, which I'll make sure is clear as well. We're good. Let's continue again, shall we? So on a current production 75, it has the square trigger guard, the round hammer, and of course the firing pin block. On the Pre-B, it has a rounded trigger guard, does not have the firing pin block, and has a spur hammer. Another feature that Pre-B 75 has is when you hit the magazine catch, normally the magazine will only drop free, probably about that far. However, that's due to the magazine brake. Originally, this pistol had the curved magazine brake, which would prevent the magazine from dropping free. I've since changed that out, so when I hit the magazine release, magazine drops free. One thing that's really good about this pistol, this is the 16-round McFerren magazine, and it works in the firearm flawlessly. Now back on topic regarding what is a Pre-B 75, turns out CZ USA and CZ UB don't recognize the term Pre-B 75. This style 75, in addition to the short rails which were produced from 1975 until 1980, are considered Type A pistols. The 75B is considered a Type B. I am aware that on CZ's website, B indicates firing pin block. However, from what I'm reading, it also indicates it's just the second version of the pistol. In this case, B was the second letter in the Roman alphabet, so it's just a 75B, 75A. So from the source I'm reading, which I'll link in the description below, this is considered a Type A 75, or at least a later Type A 75, and this is a Type B 75. I will be honest, it's kind of confusing because you think Pre-B just means pre-firing pin block. Turns out it's a little bit deeper than that. You don't have to be too technical saying, oh, this is a Type A CZ75 and this is a Type B. It's just CZ75, 75B. But it has been fun learning more about the 75 in general. One thing that's interesting about the 75s is from 1993 until 1998, they were going through a transitional period, and there's a lot of inconsistencies with them. There were Model 75s which didn't have the firing pin block, but they did have the newer roll marks. In this transition period, the roll marks changed. The most obvious one, it went from saying made in Czechoslovakia to made in Czech Republic. It also went from saying 9 Para to 9 Luger, which I will admit I do like the older roll marks. These are not the original grips which came with the pistol. These are some reproductions by Vintage Grips. What came with it when I got it were just some rubber Uncle Mike's grips. In fact, this particular pistol, I got it from an importer off Gunbroker, and from what he told me, it came from a gun shop in Israel. One thing I have read about the Pre-B 75s is the earlier ones did have better triggers than the later versions. This one was made in 1991. I do have one that was made in 1984, and that one does have a much better trigger than this one. Now, while the trigger on the 84 Pre-B is better than this Pre-B, both of them are still better than the 75B. Does that mean I would part with the 75B? No. So while this firearm is cosmetically not up to par with some of the other handguns I have, mechanically it's just fine. In fact, the bore is in very good condition. One thing that was very interesting between the 84 Pre-B I have and this Pre-B, on this one the hammer is narrower, on the 84 it's much larger. Then on this one the slide catch is much larger than the one on the 84 Pre-B. So as I said, when I changed out the curved magazine brake for the flat magazine brake in this pistol, initially the magazines weren't dropping free. In fact, the McFerren magazine didn't work at all really, but now it works just fine. Pretty cool, huh? In fact, when I took that 84 Pre-B in to have some work done on it, I was telling the man behind the counter is how it's using a modern 16-round magazine and it worked just fine. It surprised him as much as it surprised me, because I was reading that the 75B magazines don't work at all in the Pre-Bs, yet, well, there is some truth to that actually. The McFerren magazine does not work in that particular Pre-B 75, where it does work in this one. However, the factory 16-round magazines do work in the Pre-B, at least in mine anyway. Now, of course, this video, wouldn't be complete without me going to the range with this firearm. Let's take a look, shall we?
There you go. Did you shoot?
Well, anyway, that was my video on a pre-BCZ75. If you enjoyed it, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Click that bell icon to notify when I upload new content. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and have a good day. See ya!